was the first man to go down on the side of Misfits, but Syndra taken off the board. Misfits pondering what options to take. Hey, look at that! They banned Zach.
Surprise!
Won't gonna talk about that champion anymore.
So, Misfits, the pressure's on them now to ban away things like the Elise, maybe even the Lee Sin. And I don't think Ninjas in Pyjamas should look to ban away any junglers at all. You can still ban away your Zaya, you can still ban away your Cannon, and you should look to try and get yourself on a jungler that Shook can have a lot of success on. But if you're Misfits, the alternative is you leave both open, and so you can trade one for the other.
And it's really interesting too, because really we've seen one draft that we would call successful for NIP, and that was Shook on Lee Sin. We saw the Talia in the mid lane, we saw the J4 in the top, and that was the best that they have looked so far. But there is so much else we'd like to think that NIP could show us. There are so many different champions that are viable now, so many different compositions, and we've only seen one so far from NIP that has worked. Fourth game they are now playing on the stage. What will change? Well, LeBlanc is going to be banned away. Zaya as well on the opposite side for Misfits. Power picks across the board. Nothing too target focused on either side.
A lot of debate for Misfits. Do they ban away the junglers? Do they leave them both open? It looks like they're going to ban away the Elise, which means that in my head, Ninjas in Pyjamas immediately go for the Lee Sin. Not only is it comfort pick for Shook, as you rightly said, but also Thresh is available too, of course. Completely let that one slip through. Misfits, they were the ones to ban it in game one. Considered an S-tier support right now. He just does so well into Lulu, and if anybody was able to watch Longshu versus SKT, that was a perfect example of why Thresh could be so good into the champ.
So many tanky champions on the field. All that CC really does help out, but it is going to be the Galio and the Lee Sin on the side of Misfits. Have to see where the Galio goes. Maybe it'll be a flex pick this time around, but it's Jace locked in on the opposite side for Ninjas in Pyjamas. Already aggressive picks. And Vedius, you want to see more utility on the bottom side of the map? Well, you're going to get it, as the Ashe will be locked in for Hikyu. And now Misfits, they need to decide what they want to do with this last pick in the first rotation. What will it be?
I think you get yourself the Tahm Kench here. So now you've got a pretty solid front line. You have different ways of engaging. And Seekers, I think, this is fine because it guarantees Handsummer a powerful AD carry, one that can match that of Ashe. You have good wave clear. I just think that in terms of the matchup, Tahm Kench and Braum are the best answers for that of Thresh, and I think that Ninjas in Pyjamas have the freedom to ban both of those away. So they're pinching that support pool a little bit, and they're going to make things difficult for Ignar to get onto a champion that he's comfortable with. However, Misfits, they don't fully know whether or not that Jace is top or mid. So again, Ninjas in Pyjamas coming out with the flexibility. What they do know is that a jungler has not been locked in, so they can start to target focus and pinch that role a little bit more.
Olaf taking on the board, as we saw in the previous game as well. Last time it was Lee Sin. Elise already banned out, Lee Sin already selected. We'll see what else they want to take away from the pool. Will they remove the Kha'Zix from the hands of Shook? But Tahm Kench, as predicted, will be banned away. We'll see if the Braum follows up here. But then it could always just be the Bard from Ignar once again. Not necessarily a strong meta pick, but definitely a pocket pick for Ignar.
Yep. Very unlikely that we'll see the Malzahar from him after 7-11 changes, even though he did bring it out last week. I do think that it is truly dead as a support. But we never know. Ignar, he is quite persistent. And we also have to remember things like Nami is still available. I'm trying to think, Taric is also another champion that he's brought out in the past and can do fairly well into the Thresh as well. But he gets a lot of big teamfight damage, so we'll see. He has a few options.
Interesting as well. Kha'Zix, Olaf gone, Elise banned out, Lee Sin picked up, Graves still up and available. But after that, you're starting to scrape the barrel.
Pick Sejuani.
Kindred. Kindred rework.
Optimistic.
It's a little weird. Your initiation tool is also an execute, but don't worry about that. Maybe you can get it twice in a fight.
She's cute, fluffy. So now if you're Misfits Gaming, you're looking at an early rotate of your... Oh, interesting. They're actually... Oh, so they're now going to take the strategy of putting the Rumble top and the Galio mid. Or it's Galio support. Now, it could be. We did see it over in... Ooh, I believe it was the Demacia Cup that I saw it being played. But I have seen it flex into that role.
This is the best and worst part about the mid-season update, and specifically patch 7.11, is that I'm not confident in the vast majority of these picks or where they're going to go. And I love flex picks. It's wonderful. Graves, though, technically has been played top as well. But we're going to assume that it's a jungle pick just to keep me sane here. And it looks like NIP, they've identified what worked for them last time. really hoping they're going to lock this in. Right? I look really dumb if they don't lock this in. Knowing what worked for them last time, they're going to opt to go for the Talia here.
Lock it in.
Hey, good job. All right, good, thank you. Now on to the opposite side, Misfits had the luxury of the last pick.
So now we have to wonder, no, don't get baited, stop it, don't get baited. It's not locked in yet, we'll talk about the rest of the composition. Bear in mind, what they're lacking is a big, beefy support tank. They have a lot of damage with the Varus, they have damage with the Rumble. Now all they need is...
Hey, support Galio! No matter what they pick, it's exciting. I love this patch. All right. Galio in the bottom lane going toe-to-toe with that Thresh. And of course, the taunt as it's channeled cannot be interrupted by CC.
So you get hooked, and you're like, oh, you're going to hook me into the taunt. I'm fine with that.
You can't push him back, admittedly, with the Flay.
You can. But then you're using both the hook and the Flay into his single taunt. That's like an advantage in terms of skills trade.
Economics.
Value. Exactly.
Call that the 2-for-1.
But we can talk more about that when we get into game. In terms of the overall composition, very similar for Misfits, like we saw in Game 1. A lot of emphasis on team fighting, grouping up as a 5-man unit. They have a little bit more playmaking power with the Lee Sin. He's not quite as linear as the Zac is. He has a few more options. But it's still, the core of it is very much about team fighting, and Lee Sin and the Varus are going to be the primary initiation tools. Now for NIP, they have great kiting, they have great sieging, and they have a lot of pick potential, but again, 1-3-1 is the name of the game for them. Talia off in one side lane, Jace off into another. Two big carries that can hold their own, while your primary wave clear will be Graves and Ashe holding down the mid lane full.
Well, here's your chance. Well, ladies and gentlemen, at LO Esports is the place on Twitter. Hashtag NIP win or hashtag MSF win. Maybe you believe in Henning. Maybe you believe in Officio. Maybe you believe in Nagne or Power of Evil. Either way, let us know where your loyalties lie as we get ready for Game 2.
I'm ready. It's going to be Galio's support. Over in North America, they brought out the Sejuani support. Earlier today, we saw the Bard support. Getting a lot of fun, cool stuff in the new meta.
A lot of people a fan of fun, cool stuff, as it turns out. Well, here it is, folks. Game 2. Nagne and Power of Evil loaded up. They're ready, as is the rest of both teams. But really, we're going to see setting our sights on the mid lane, because last game, Power of Evil was on a tear. It was a boring early game, we'll give you that. Galio versus Victor. But PoE was coming in clutch in those late game team fights.
And this is a pretty cool mid lane matchup. It's a very common one over in the LCK. The big difference between the two is Orianna is very much a team fight, peeling kind of mid lane mage that has a lot of laning power, whereas Nagne on the Talia has more roaming power, but she ends up losing a little bit in terms of the laning phase. Because of the work ground, it can be difficult to consistently trade against Ori, so your goal is to just keep pushing, keep wave clearing, and early on you might suffer a little bit in terms of your ability to go with the back and forth. Once you hit 6, that's where Power of Evil really has to have his vision game on point to keep track of when Nagne tries to move around the map.
And interestingly as well, mid lane, farming in the early game, similar to what we saw last time. A lot about pushing, maybe some kill pressure in favor of the Orianna, if Power of Evil gets to auto-attack enough. But the bottom lane, I don't know. See, the Vedius, I don't know with these new bottom lanes. Because I feel like if this was me and you, we would go in nonstop.
Of course we would.
But we also feed relentlessly, so I don't know what to expect from these
And remember,
guys.
it was you and I that was playing the Galio support upon release. I was like, Dracos, I know the role. It's not top, it's not mid, it's support. As Prophet, he's trying to be a jungler right now.
Not where you belong, Prophet. Go back to the top lane. Well, already things... A little trading back and forth here on the bottom side of the map, we gotta say. Hikyu and Sprotle still not getting the good end of it, as Ignar just harasses up. But all right, across the board so far.
And let's talk about this bottom lane. Yeah, what you expect is a lot of pushing power from Ignar and Handsummer. Not only do they have the Q and E from the Varus, but also Galio is renowned, regardless of what lane he goes in, for just his wave clear. The base value on his Q is just so impactful. Now, you won't max it. You're very likely to max the taunt because the damage reduction is extremely valuable, and you can soak up a lot of the engagement that's going to try and come out from NIP. But it's also just very effective for any kind of ganks that come their way because of the amount of peel that you can provide. And as you rightly said, we like to feed relentlessly. And that's because you do have the power to go for an all-in, especially if Maxwell comes down to the bottom lane, and then you have the follow-up with the Ignar ulti too. And his Justice Punch can hit pretty hard.
Shook now moving forward, trying to get some summoners out of Power of Evil, but at least for now, he will get the damage.
That's like the worst feeling in the world, right? When just the jungler comes mid. He's not even trying to gank, he's literally just trying to hit you to relieve some pressure from his mid lane.
To be fair, this is payback for last game where Ignar came to the mid lane and just hit Nagne 4 or 5 times, but Nagne definitely suffering here a little bit in the laning phase. We did not see this when he was playing the Galio, but it is something that he has been known to do in terms of just falling behind early on, whether it be in trades or in farm.
And it doesn't help with the matchup either. Like, we did briefly talk about it, and it's just very much what happens every time you get close to the ball. She will always be able to hit you, especially if the Orianna stands behind the minions. But thanks to the pressure from Shook, it will allow Nagne to get the push, go for an early back, likely to get himself an early Doran's Ring along with the control ward so that he can be aware of any of those pesky ganks coming out from Maxwell.
Second Doran Ring, control ward as predicted. Now the bottom lane from Misfits, more than content to keep the pressure going. Rumble pushing in the Jace on the top side of the map. Prophet, now we know he has a lot of roots in the LSPL as a more carry-oriented top lane player. The Jarvan being the closest thing we've seen so far, but now the Jace coming out, we'll really see how he's able to handle a lot of these 1v1 scenarios.
And Jace, depending on where you go in the world, he does have mixed priority, popularity. There was a lot of discussion in the office around how much of a value he would be, and a lot of us did think that Jace would still be a big power pick, but we haven't actually seen much of it in Europe. We have seen a few bans here and there, but as you rightly said, it is a very good champion for Prophet with his playstyle, but Alfari, he's demonstrating that he does like to carry too, and while he's often relegated to these tanks, he's not going to have the same sort of laning phase that he had in Game 1.
Can't just wait. Don't have the luxury of some level 6 ultimate to help you win out on these fights, nor the CC to set up your jungler. So for now, you just take the bad end of most of these trades. Doran's shield as well, making it pretty easy to heal up for both sides. Not a whole ton of kill pressure on either end, but it does mean Jace forced now to back. We'll see what the early buys get for him. Mid lane, though, surprisingly even. Nagne taking advantage of the early pressure laid down by Shook, and that's something that we like to see from him.
Ooh, but Power of Evil went boots instead of a control ward. See, now if I was Max, I'd be very disappointed in it. Because the control ward, it offers a lot of value, especially if you get it early. It can often be very super efficient because simply the amount of time that it will survive. And he will give him a bit more mobility, will allow him to play more aggressively in lane, look for more regular trades. But it's a little selfish. It's a little selfish.
Sometimes you have to be a little selfish. You want to win that lane, Vedius. Not everybody can play for the team. Some of us need to be the hero in our laning phase, and for now, that's Power of Evil's goal. Of course, we take a chance to look at him in the mid lane. He was, once again, the massive factor coming in for that Game 1 win. 7-1 and 5, the scoreline on that victor.
Panning out his kill participation.
Even higher, even higher. 89% in the previous graphic, now 92.3. Nothing happens on the map without Power of Evil knowing about it. He is going to be a part of everything in this game we can expect, but it's going to be tough to keep up with Nagne on this Talia. Both of them now with level 6. We have to be ready for the Weaver's Wall to come out.
Good vision here from Shook, investing into keeping track of where Maxwell is. Looks like he is farming towards 6, which is a little disappointing, largely because coming into the split, I was hyping at Maxwell a lot about the synergy that he had with Alfari, and Lee Sin is a very early game jungler, and sure, you can farm up to 6, but you're also giving the freedom for Graves to farm up to 6. And when you have cool opportunities like down in the bottom lane, up in the top half of the map, like you don't rely on CC in your lane, you just need them to have the damage to follow you up as you move in. So I want to see a little bit more from Maxwell. This could be his first game.
Sonic Wave comes out. Spraddle there as well, though. So good ward coming for Spraddle. If something had gone wrong, would have had the get out of jail free card from that Thresh. And Vedi is similar to last game. Level 6 are starting to come in. Not quite as insane as it was the previous time, though. Both Jace and the Talia not going to find any damaging abilities, although they will be a little bit more mobile, or in the case of Jace, just another regular skill.
And remember what we said about these compositions. For NIP, it's very much about that 1-3-1 once again. Nagne on a really good champion to go off into a side lane, whereas Orianna can't really follow. Like, sure, she can hold her own against the Talia, but if a fight breaks out in mid, it's going to be super easy for Nagne to get to that fight, especially if he uses a wall not only to close the gap, but to cut off Orianna from even joining the fray. So it's very difficult for Misfits if they keep stalling this out and NIP reach these item spikes that force Misfits to split up around the map.
Prophet will spot Maxlore out, but just a little bit of acting here. Willing to take the back half of that trade just to keep Maxlore there a little bit longer. Pings go down. let the team know he's coming. Sproul gonna throw up the hook, but Hansama is waiting off to the side. Thresh gonna take a lot of damage here, but he's gonna bring Shook in. That's a Graves, level 6, moving forward, trying to burn down Ignar. Heal comes out, one more auto attack, but the Equalizer comes in on the backside. They're gonna take down Ignar, and that's first blood, but here comes Alfari. No TP available for the Jace. It's the 3-on-2, but that is a strong rumble. Knocked back, damage still coming out. Shook doing so much. The power of the Graves in the melee range, the collateral damage. That's the second kill. Hansama wants to turn around. That's 1, that's 2. Not gonna find 3 because Power of Evil is finally here, and Maxlor's come to play as well. But Nagne, whoo, gets a kill back. Still the triple for Hansama.
But everything still goes in the way of Misfits, while there are some sick moves there from Nagne. And the fact that the initial gank looks so promising for NIP, Alfari bought enough time for the rest of Misfits to join the fray. Prophet could not follow with his TP because it was not available. 4 kills to 3 in favor of Misfits. 3 of those went on to the Misfits 80 carry, and this Varus is just set up for success.
And we always talk about Power of Evil, we talk about Alfari, we talk about the top side of the map because we're expecting them to go toe-to-toe with NIP top side of the map, but Hansama, look at me on the carry now, boys. 3 kills in this exchange.
I love this play from NIP because to Misfits it looks like this is a bad setup, but they know that Shook is just walking up through the lane. He's level 6 and he doesn't use his ulti because he is aware that the Rumble is coming, and he thinks that if he has that in his back pocket, it'll actually be enough damage to swing it in their favor. But just look at how much damage Alfari actually gets with just the Flame Spitter, along with Hansama not taking any damage on the backside as well. So sure, you get the kill onto him, but Hansama is healthy enough to be able to get the 1v3. Power of Evil comes in, gets a cheeky kill, but then this is where we see the cool outplay from Nagne. He gets the knockback onto Maxlor, is able to at least get something back, but I feel like that the damage done by Misfits was much more severe.
Absolutely. However, gold remains relatively the same. But it's really not about the gold in terms of the spread across the map. It's about the differences in the matchups. Jay's got a lot more time to farm on the top side of the map, but Rumble comes back with the nerfed Tabby. Only 10% damage reduction on those basic attacks. But some armor penetration as well. And bottom lane, finished Cutlass to just the Vamp Scepter.
Ouchies.
Plus Varus already, a little bit more damage innately in the kit, so things looking a little rough here for the bottom side of the map.
Yeah, and you can also see Power of Evil. He's built up quite a healthy CS lead now after Nagne's death. Without any summoner spells as well, it's going to give so much more priority towards Power of Evil because he's free to push, he's free to play aggressive, and you can already see that now. Nagne pushed underneath his tower, Power of Evil moving up with Maxlor to help him get some vision.
You see this damage going in. Max are hungry for a little bit of blood. Ball delivery system. Collateral damage takes him out, and Shook's going to walk away
for
safely.
The collapse. Here comes the wall.
Ignar on the way as well. Just punch forward, pulled back. Spraddle gets the hook. Nagne pulled back to the team. Nice escape in the end. There's the arrow. Knocked back. Decent damage. Ignar going to get popped. Profit from the side with a clean shock blast, but the fight. Ooh, NIP have to be careful. Low health bars and everyone on Misfits full and ready for a fight.
A lot of question mark pings directed towards Ignar there. Going in with the Justice Punch, you think, okay, you don't have the rest of your team, but you do see that Maxlor is coming in from the side. So you think that if the engagement comes onto you, you can buy enough time to set up for a couple of kills in the middle lane. However, he doesn't respect the positioning of Spraddle, who uses the hook to allow the rest of NIP not only to save Nagne, but also to get themselves a kill down onto the support of Misfits. So they've now equalized the kill score, they've equalized the gold, and these small misplays are giving NIP opportunities to get a little bit more control back in this game.
And this is something that we saw from NIP in their game 2 against Fnatic. They are a tenacious team, and if you give them opportunities to come back, they're going to take them. And Misfits have to be careful here, because when we look at both their game 2s, we'll have to hold that thought. Power of Evil looking for the outplay. Auto attacks going down. Nagne going to throw back a little bit of damage. Flash forward. Power of Evil just going to make it out. The 1v1 coming in, and now Shook is the man in trouble. He's running for his life, but he is in no man's land. Sonic Wave connects. Maxlor not quite going to take it because Prophet is here as well, trying to knock down Power of Evil. Good damage onto Ignar, but he is now in trouble. Knocked up, knocked out. Maxlor gonna grab that kill, and Misfits are just crushing NIP in that trade.
Very swift pickups for the side of Misfits. And it's worth highlighting, going back to that graph, because this is a good illustration where NIP, they fought back against Fnatic. They were actually much more resilient than Misfits were in their second game. What we're seeing here is NIP, they're getting caught out. Misfits, they're demonstrating, look, we have an early lead, and we are not afraid to keep finding opportunities, to keep trying to push our advantages as well. And it's just the difference from week to week, because in week 1, we thought NIP looked good, Misfits looked very shaky, but now coming into week 2, it is Misfits that are looking like the powerhouse in this matchup.
You can see it across the board, too. 1-1-1 the score for the Lee Sin. Yeah, but that's the least impressive. We look at the 2-0-2, the solo kill coming in from Power Eagle, the 3-0-1 for Hansama as he lived through all of the action on the bottom side. And small gold lead for sure, but you're going to have to give respect to those carries on the side of Misfits. They are terrifying.
Yep. 2-0-2 Ori, as you rightly said. This also just backtracks, like, Taliyah can't 1v1. She's not a solo carry. She is purely for the team. She is not being played properly if she's not roaming around the map, moving with the jungler, setting up for vision, and making plays happen wherever she can. If she's left into her own lane, she's almost certainly going to lose it, especially into a matchup against Orianna, and that's where we're seeing Power of Evil succeed.
NIP just giving up this bottom lane tower, but they're a little bit behind on the play as well. NIP going to grab a tower back in exchange, but with first tower gold advantage going over to Misfits, they're going to pull even a little bit further ahead. And now NIP are setting their sights on the Rift Herald. This is what we saw from Misfits in the previous game. A little bit of a mix-up here, but Hansama doing his best to keep this going. Will get the attack speed steroid when he kills those minions. May just be able to kill this out himself. NIP giving up a tier 2 tower in exchange. Maxlor stunned up. Where's it going to go? Damage comes down. They are going to be able to grab the Rift Herald. Shook just barely able to get it. Leaps out, but is killed. Does keep the Herald in the eye, however. Power of Evil now in trouble. Going for a little bit more, but that's just not enough. Heq grabs it in the end. Prophet moving forward now. Alfari has to be careful. Maxwell really cannot come to help him. Where is the Empowered Shock Blast? Acceleration Gate waiting on those cooldowns. Prophet going to back off. You can tell he's still hungry for blood. Does connect down to Alfari, but not the target he needed to hit.
So while this is great for NIP, they end up trading 1-for-1 and they get themselves the Rift Herald. They lost the tier 2 tower in the bottom lane. Hansama was just freely pushing onto that tower because Prophet was forced to TP into that fight, which means that NIP, they had no answer, and in terms of their map control, they are continuing to fall behind. They will be able to rectify some of that with the purple she-tank, but besides from that, like, taking these skirmishes are not the same way they want to play. Now, this is a bit of poor communication from Misfits, because sure, they have a 3-man collapse, but they don't respect the possible flank coming in from Nagne. You also have to wonder where the ultimate is from Ignar, because he could be trying to assist the rest of his team, but he's just at this point deciding, you know what, Power, I think you're dead, and I'm just going to leave. But I just, like, where is it? He could have come out so much earlier and perhaps swung this fight in favor of Misfits.
Small mistakes, once again, appear to be the death of NIP, but not yet. Only a 2K gold difference. The Power Eagle continues to look scarier and scarier, and gold's starting to go into everybody's hands as they take down the global objectives. Nagne, once again, showing us a solid performance on Taliyah, but may not be enough if the team keeps continuing to misstep in these exchanges. Vedius, Misfits are setting the pace once again, and this always just feels like a death sentence. The only teams that ever really feel like they have anything to do against this are the top teams. Unicorns of Love, sometimes Fnatic, although they never let Misfits get a lead, and G2. NIP not quite in that upper echelon yet, and may just start to fall down here because Misfits just keep the ball rolling, but NIP are looking to fight back. There's the giant she-tank, Rift Herald in the mid lane. Power doing his best to clear this out. Nagne pushing forward. He is now in trouble. Kick back. Galio is now delivered. Flashback! Oh, that was a mistake. As Kobe would say, that was terrible.
Oh, man. He got punched in the face. NIP, they end up losing their mid laner. They don't get the mid lane tower either. And now Misfits, they're grouping up as a 4-man unit using split push Hansama as they look to try and take down this tier 1 in the mid.
A little bit Shook. All right, Shook. Dead. Okay, outplayed. That was interesting. Shook approaches the tower, definitely making mistakes here, and we can see this is the difference in discipline between these two teams. Misfits, they're just not a team to kind of lose focus in terms of team comms, especially not when they have a lead, but NIP all over the map in terms of what they're trying to do right now, and contesting that wave just cost Shook his life and gives over an even greater gold advantage to Misfits, and they're approaching that 5K point.
And it just comes back to the proactivity of Misfits once they get themselves a lead. They know exactly how to try and punish their opponents, and they see, okay, NIP, they've only got 3 members mid, they don't have their Jace with a TP either, let's just go in, to try and force a fight. They have Ignar with the ulti finally coming through. And they also had Maxwell coming in from the flank to be able to get that kick off. And you think at first, maybe it was not a great kick, but still, they end up getting the kill.
I see you, Twitter. That was a lot more Nip favored 45 minutes ago. Some shifting loyalties. I understand, though. NIP looked really good last week against Fnatic, but it's definitely starting to show some weakness here against Misfits. Maybe a little too much confidence in them too early in the season. Maybe not enough faith, though. We'll see if they can bring it back. NIP, once again, we want to see the top lane triangle be crucial to success. Well, they have been a part of just about everything. Outside of Prophet, who has been in the side lane, solo pushing, left alone to do what he wants to do. And while it has resulted in a small CS lead, it has given him a kill. Definitely still very behind Alfari, who has been a part of the majority of the team's plays.
So what I think is fair to say is we want to see Nagni on the Talia, but he really has been shut down by Power of Evil. I feel like now, 2 games in a row, we can convincingly say that Power of Evil really has had the number of Nagni.
And he has made some mistakes, but I think the other difference here is Shook on this Graves versus Shook on the Lee Sin. He has not been the one to dictate the pace of the game. He has been there for 1 or 2 clutch plays. He has been a problem in 1 or 2 plays as well, but when we saw success, it was Shook on the Lee Sin, finding early leads for the Jarvan, helping Nocte get ahead, setting up the plays, the combination of the Dragon's Rage and the Unraveled Earth to deal so much damage in fights. And yes, Graves has a ton of damage in the kit, but Graves does not dictate the pace of the game. Lee Sin can dictate the pace of the game. He is the man who sets up those early games.
And it was an awkward situation for NIP in the draft, choosing to ban away the LeBlanc rather than even taking off this other jungler. So just taking Lee Sin out of the game entirely and forcing Max onto something that maybe he's not as comfortable on, because we saw his Kha'Zix last week was not the best performance. Nope. But now Prophet coming in with a TP.
To get a little bit of damage. Stun does connect onto Max or Chain CC from the Thresh. They're going to keep it going. Flayed back. We now might get that synergy from the Lee Sin, but you do get in the end. Prophet leaping forward. Hansama, he's going to try to find a 1v1, but Sparrow going to flash over the wall. Heroic entrance. Ignar. He knows his time and takes a big risk, but does make it to safety behind. Oh, Hansama.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
Come to sleep with you. I don't know the words. He's dead.
He's
Shut
dead.
down. It's a good song. I promise I'll learn. Don't hate me for it, but Hansama, as appropriately said, hello, darkness, my old friend. Hansama goes to the grave.
And ruins his perfect KDA.
3-1-1 now. Dang it, Hansama. We wanted to talk you up, and we still should. Solid plays for the most part. Still definitely a threat on the team as he completes his second item.
This is good for NIP. Using the arrow, finding themselves a pick. They get themselves a kill onto Maxthor, they get a kill onto Hansama. They need to find these opportunities in order to find a path back into the game. Because while the goal deficit is slowly getting bigger and Misfits do have a lot more control over the map, NIP still have the option for a 1-3-1, and right now they're behind. So they need to find these picks. They need to find just small pockets of gold that they can put back in their pocket in order to properly be threats in the side lanes. But this is just a great example of utilizing not only the Ashe arrow, but also the Talia wall to very quickly cut off the escape of Misfits, and also just being able to get a very effective collapse.
And Prophet going aggressive there. Hansama does go in. Has to say, good escape by Ignar. Could have been worse for the side of Misfits. I mean, we've seen this one before, for sure. Good wall comes in from Nagne. Sort of a burial mound, I guess we could call it.
The laugh spam from Hansama as well.
Feels bad, man. Ooh, Ignar. A little bit of damage goes down, but NIP not looking to risk that trade. Ignar may be a support Gallia, but still very difficult to burst down. Graves simply not enough. And now 5 members strong of Misfits are moving towards the Baron Pit, but they are standing on a ward.
Yeah, this is a bit of a gamble, sending your mid laner down to the bottom. Sure, he does have that ulti to swiftly move up to mid, but Misfits, they're pretty strong. They have good vision control around the river. But as you rightly said, that ward is keeping an eye out on Misfits.
NIP see everything.
Nagne, go! Run, Nagne, run!
Baron has been started. It will start to tick down. We have to keep our eyes on NIP. They know what's going on. They have the opportunity to respond.
Oh my god.
So much damage goes forward. Equalizer comes in. EQ in trouble. Lantern goes short. No! Massive misplay comes in from the side of NIP. Misfits more than happy to pick it up, and they're just going to go right back to that Baron.
It was a bait all along. Misfits, they just wanted to fight. A big misplay coming out for NIP as the wall comes out from Nagne.
Get out of the pit, says Nagne. It works.
It does, in fact, work, yeah.
I think that's what Trump thinks of when he thinks the wall is going to be effective. He's like, no one's going to enter. No one.
Perhaps. Well, certainly it works here for NIP. Nagne utilizing that wall to just say you're either trapped in the pit or you're trapped out of the pit.
And really, Misfits, that's one of those situations we have to respect them because there's a lot of teams, Fnatic, who would have taken that risk and gone into the pit and said, we're getting this bear and there's nothing you're going to do about it. The Misfits take the safer approach.
That's a beautiful fight from Maxwell. Like, the thing is for Hiku is he has to flash, otherwise he's going to insta-die. And the misplay was on Shradle. You should be throwing that lantern at max range, not at the range, because walls are a little weird in this game, and you can flash into them.
If you don't
dash
throw
into
it
them
over the wall,
yes.
it hits it's like ping pong, right? Like, you got to hit it over the proverbial net.
Otherwise, it just goes into the wall, and we all laugh. Except for Hiku. He gets very sad.
Ooh, flash out from Shook. Power Wheel burning down some summoner spells. That one's pretty important if they want to keep contesting the jungle. But in the meantime, Prophet will have his TP up shortly. Misfits have the timer on that one. They may see this as an opportunity. If not, they may not feel comfortable starting the Baron, but they're definitely comfortable. Ticking down. Prophet continuing to push, though. Remember, he doesn't have the TP. So this is just a bluff. Jace cannot be there. All right, Nagne, we give you some praise. What can you do? Unraveled Earth, threaded volley. Not gonna matter. Misfits grabbing the Baron, a 4K gold lead as well, and that's only gonna grow.
NIP, they invested way too much into, let's get this bot tower. Without any way of quickly collapsing onto the Baron, Misfits feels super confident in taking that objective down. They're now grouping as a 4-man unit in the bottom lane. They're going for the Death Brush.
Classic. Just classic strategies. Remember NIP? Old school roster, you know, around back in the day.
The Deficio Special.
The Deficio Special. This is what we call it from the NIP playbook. When you're not sure what the next macro move is,
here we go.
You hide. Oh. Hi, Alfari. Don't miss! Got him! Spraddle, there's a little redemption for you. Gotta get the shutdown.
Deficio sends his regards. NIP, they get themselves a pick. But Misfits, they have priority in mid. They have push in top. Sure, it's great for NIP to relieve some of the pressure on the side lane, but they now need to go and answer this push from Misfits.
Power of Evil, completely unafraid, has Baron-empowered cannon creeps to back him up as well. They got a pick. It may make it a bit harder to pressure, but Misfits still going to grab these tier 2 towers completely uncontested. That is the trade-off on the side of NIP. Not working out for them right now, but what we do have to say is as much as NIP are struggling, Misfits are showing us a level of play that we wanted to see when Maxlor joined the roster. He is coordinating, he has a supportive scoreline 1-2-6, and he has set up all of his carries for success 3-2-5, 3-1-6, 3-1-2. Him and Ignar are the crux on which these battles are started, and it just looks good when these two are dictating the pace.
Completely agree with you, and to be fair to NIP, they are able to get that bottom tier 2. So they ended up losing 1 tower for 2, and they are able to get themselves a kill. The gold is still pretty much in favor of Misfits, but as you rightly said, Maxlor, it's nice to see that he is meshing better with the team. I think this is a better week for them against NIP. It's going to be a bigger test when they play up against teams like G2 and that of Group B in a few weeks' time, because what we did see is a stark difference from this week to last week, where it felt like the Misfits were just completely not doing anything. But what I have identified twice now is that for the first 10 minutes of Misfits' gameplay, it feels like they don't do anything. They really do turn on around the 12-minute mark where they're super proactive, they're moving around the map. It's like really around that first item spike where they go, let's go do stuff. That could be a window in the future as Prophet has found Ignar.
Just a punch buffered out, we'll give him a little bit more distance. Flash, just to pull back, just to buy a bit of time. Now he's the ball delivery system, no longer just a support left alone.
I like how he flashed into the red buff to say, I am the red buff now. And Maxwell came in to heal him.
Knocked back, no longer the red buff, but definitely in danger of going down. However, Misfits is here, and they're ready for the turnaround. Leaps out, comes back in. Ignar is safe. Alfari tries to hand deliver the ball, but now he's on the wrong side of that wall. Hiku gonna try to grab that one, but Nagne gonna take it in the end. Prophet's waiting on the outside. The minion wave is gone, and at the end of the day, just a one-for-one exchange.
But NIP, they're buying time. Being able to get that pick means the Misfits cannot continue with their siege. And Prophet, he just needs gold. Same for Nagne. They need this complete as items to really start bringing it back to Misfits. So the best thing NIP can do is stall. And the fact that Alfari is getting picked off again, that is the second time now within the last 3-4 minutes that he has died alone.
I mean, he flashed over the wall as Rumble. Clearly, Alfari was like,
fair.
This is the fight where we win.
That's fair. That is very fair. As Ignat, he doesn't care about this backline kill. He knows that Hansam has got it. Shook is going down. Oh, he actually gets thrown over the wall. Yeah, okay, that's not Alfari's fault.
Nagne is very good.
I was unfair to Alfari. My apologies.
You forget it can do that because no one ever hits that ability, so it just doesn't really happen. It's the worst part when you pick up Talia and you learn that that ability is really slow.
And one that doesn't miss is Max Law.
Oh,
I lied. Yes, it does.
Max Law is in trouble. He says, "I will die for you, Alfari."
That was like the most anticlimactic kick ever because he kicked Prophet into the wall, so it doesn't look like he moved at all. It's like he vibrated vigorously. He stood in place and he just vibrated like, oh, and he ended up dying. Maxlaw died. Sucks for him.
Maybe an alternative career path in Maxlow's future. But now Spraddle, the one cut out. It's picks left and right. Hansam is the one who's in trouble. He goes down.
Misfits, they're falling apart right now.
We were just saying, NIP, they're falling apart. Misfits are the one in control, and Misfits are like, no, sir.
Hold my drink.
You do not make blanket statements about our team.
Minus 133 gold Baron power play. Oh, Misfits, they're losing it now. Like, this gold difference is getting smaller and smaller.
We have to remember, when Fnatic opened up the map like this, it was Nagne and the rest of NIP who were able to hold on for so long, utilizing things like the Weaver Wall, making these picks left and right, taking Reckless out of 1 or 2 team fights. And while the early game feels good for NIP, the mid game feels completely unorganized. Once the map opens up, they do seem like a team who can organize a lot of these plays, who can set up a lot of these picks.
And Prophet, he's now at 3 items. He's a real threat. I don't even know if Alfari can hold his own 1v1 because they're both level 16. We've seen what Prophet can do on these carry champions. But Misfits, they're setting up around the back. 1 minute 20 until it spawns again. NIP, I feel like that they can't really win a full 5v5. NIP just have to keep them split up. But when Misfits go for that Baron, NIP have to find some kind of an answer. And I don't know if Nagne can get the same kind of miracle steal he got against Fnatic in their last week series.
And it's scary too, because if that Jace finds a flank, if he's able to get onto Hansama, Power of Evil, that's 500 damage on the Shock Blast, 500 damage on the Two of the Skies. That's one ability. That's a Q in each form, and he still has the rest of his kit to dish out damage. So Jace, maybe not someone we consider to be an assassin, but you have to give him that respect if he is able to find a path into the team.
And the funny part about all of this is that in the past, the big criticism that we had for Misfits was their slow ability to close out a game. And it was largely because even when they had a lead, they always followed the textbook. It was very much like, unless we have an 80% chance of success, we are not going to try and make a play that would break into their base. So they were super slow, and that gave big windows for the enemy team to come back into the game. And what we're seeing now is rather than take those 80% plays, they're kind of taking 55, 60% plays, which are backfiring, and it's giving NIP a bit of gold. And now they are slowly working their way back.
And I get it, you know? You play enough Mozart, you play enough of the classics, you want to get a little jazz going Vedius. But we're going from regular jazz to like acid jazz. Very few people enjoy it. It's a weird genre of music. I don't know if you've ever listened to it, but that is what we are approaching if Misfits continue to make questionable plays.
What a great analogy. Misfits are in the mood for some acid jazz. And maybe they need to go back to a little bit of Mozart.
AKA Fnatic every game. Admittedly, they win a lot. They execute on those plays consistently, but they make some crazy moves. Misfits moving forward.
TP is up.
Weaver's Wall once again. No one's allowed in that pit. Don't forget it, Misfits. Now I don't know how he's just gonna leave.
Oh, look at the flank.
How far on the backside? Galio coming in, decent damage, but Maxlor is now in trouble. Unraveled Earth has already been used. NIP grouping up as 5. Keep in mind, Equalizer is up and available as is the Shockwave. The Wombo combo is online.
And I love this kiting from NIP. They're not hard committing to a fight. Look at all the ultis that we used, largely just from Ignat, but they've gone back to the Baron.
And Jay still has TP, 5k health and getting lower. This is a big risk for Misfits. This could be the 50-50 Baron. A lot of faith in Maxlor. Oh, where
This is
Shook?
risky.
Justice punch. Hook goes forward. Decent damage onto Hansama. Knockback.
He's in the
pit. Can they take down Shook before they get the Baron? He makes it over the wall. Where is the smite?
He gets
it! NIP Misfits, you take the risk. They're more than happy to punish you. Look at Prophet. He's already breaking an inhib. This is disaster for the side of Misfits.
Oh my word, NIP, they take the gamble. Look at Prophet. They can't get back to base here. I don't know if Misfits can do it in time.
He's gonna break one tower. He can't take the game, but that is the worst possible thing that could happen to Misfits. The gold has been evened up. Hiku is in the mid lane. He's not happy with even. He wants to find a lead, but it's just dead on as we approach the 35-minute mark.
Oh my word, Misfits. Utterly disappointing. The fact that you end up getting picked off multiple times, you decide that you have to try and force a fight around Baron, and when NIP successfully kite you out, you think, that's it, we're committing hard to this objective, we're going for the gamble, and we're putting all our faith in Max Law. And even though Shook gets blast coned into the pit, is forced to flash out of it, he is still able to get the steal, get the bottom lane inhibitor, get 2 towers. NIP have swung this game wide open.
As we look at this again, I mean, I'm really just going to tell you the only thing that matters right now is Shook.
Yeah, just watch Shook. The rest of the fight doesn't matter. So you can see here, he gets blast gone into the pit, he gets taunted up, he gets kicked out, and then he flashes back in for the steal. I think if Maxwell had followed that cue, he should have been able to get the kill, and then that smite threat could disappear. But we'd have to go back and watch it multiple times. Regardless, Shook is the hero, and he keeps his team alive.
And you got to feel bad for Ignar, too, because he flashed over the wall, maybe hoping to CC the Graves, to stop him from getting anything, and he just flashes in and autos the blast cone, and the Graves comes with him.
But if anything, like, that could have been an instant kill, right? Because if they all agree to nuke him, if they know that's going to happen.
But to be fair, if we look back at Misfits, we want to see Misfits improve. This is a weakness that Misfits showed us in week 1 of spring, these risky Baron calls. And we're seeing it again now. Different jungler, most of the team still the same, but they're so eager to close out, sometimes taking these unnecessary risks, and now NIP are in the driver's seat, and we know this is when Misfits are at their weakest, when they do not have a reliable lead, when they are the team that has to find opportunities to come back, when that textbook does not have anything written about it when you give away a Baron to the enemy team.
Exactly that, and NIP, they're now in full force to set up this 1-3-1. Prophet can easily force Alfari back. You've also got a Talia in the mid lane that can very freely roam around the map, and while Misfits, they're trying to force a fight bot side, immediately you lose the tower on top.
Continuing to push forward. Still don't have a gold lead. They're pushing enough minions into the base that Misfits are keeping it dead even. But the base is open. Super minions are pushing in the bot wave. This is where it gets easy when you're in a 1-3-1. You just follow those minions forward. You chip away. But can they get anything else before the Baron buff expires? Power Beagle now potentially in trouble. Arrow going to miss. Hook not going to connect either. Good movement from Misfits keeps them alive in that one.
Let's look at it that way. Yeah, good movement from Misfits to dodge out from all the skill shots and ultis. This will slow NIP down a little bit because Misfits, they don't have to be afraid now of any kind of an engagement. And a lot of what NIP will be relying on is to use the Baron-empowered minions and to have Prophet draw more than one member down to the bottom side of the map so that NIP can be a little bit more forceful as they approach the tower.
Spruttle. This man likes to hide in bushes and wait for hooks, and I respect that. That is definitely something that's worked out for NIP a few times now. But with Baron buff gone, NIP are just even in terms of a lot of things across the map. Prophet continues to be a threat on the bottom side, and Misfits more than happy to commit members, though they're not letting it happen at the same time these waves crash in.
Yeah, so just something to bear in mind when you guys at home are trying to siege into the enemy base and you want to go for these inhibitors, ideally you want all 3 minion waves to hit the towers at the same time. Now, because of the way in which mid lane works, the minions travel faster, they will reach the point faster, so sometimes you have to compensate, and it's worth just allowing the minions to just sit in front of the other minion wave while you soak up the damage from the minions so that you can have all 3 waves push up together. And part of the problem here for NIP is you had bot lane hit first because it has super minions, then top lane would hit, and then mid lane would hit, which means that Misfits could actually just very easily go between each of the waves and just clear them out. So NIP, their ability to siege, not perfect, but the fact that they're able to get to this point is still a big bonus for the side of NIP.
And it's interesting, too, because we praise Misfits so much. You look at that gold graph on your screen for their ability to close out once they had a lead. Not their ability to close out, but their ability to snowball these leads. And they did. Look at that. They were crushing for so long, but
you
then...
can see where the ball was rolling. It was like, whoa, that's great.
Down the hill, and then there's one pick, and then another pick, and then another pick, and then an attempt to start Baron, and nothing, and then, oh, look at that. Baron steal. Mini towers, an inhibitor, an absolute disaster.
But now what happens? Because we're at a standstill. Neither team has a lead. Everything has been evened up. The bottom lane inhibitor is back. And I feel like this is all going to culminate into one big fight. But NIP, they have won the 5v5 fight. Again, they have the 1-3-1. They want to be playing around the map. And with Baron spawning in a minute 30, I'm fascinated to see how Misfits can regain control over that objective.
And Misfits, I'm wondering if they're starting to feel a little shaky here, how their comms are. They are the more experienced team. They should be able to keep it together easier, even if you have more experienced players on the side of NIP.
Well, in terms of experience, I mean, Nagne, this guy has been around.
Nagne shook.
But you're right, in terms of the team, Misfits, this roster has been together for a very long time, but NIP, these guys are a brand new roster that just came together for this split. So I completely agree with you. Like, you have to think that Misfits should be better equipped in this kind of a situation.
When they've got blood in their eyes because they set their sights on Prophet and they want to see him go down. Acceleration gate. Yomu's as well. Maxler moving forward. Where's the Sonic Wave? Not going to give him the chance. Just flashes in for the kick. That's going to be Prophet dropping. Easy pickup for Misfits. Super important for that coming Baron.
Now look at this, 57-second death timer, 32 seconds on the Baron. That means that this big objective is going to be up and ready before Prophet is available.
We have to remember, though, Nagne is Lord of the Pit. And he will not let anyone in, Vedius. So if Misfits want to take that Baron, they're going to have to go through Nagne.
Ignar with the face plant. Justice Punch, it doesn't go through walls. You will just hit it. Unlucky angle, but as you rightly said, like, I love that. Lord of the Pit. He will open and close the door, and he decides who enters.
Unfortunately,
that's a lot of control.
Unfortunately, the Balrog in this case, pretty aggressive. Its name is Misfits Gaming, and
here he goes.
Gandalf not going to be able to stop them from getting into the pit. They're just going to keep going. Shook, where is he?
Oh, he's done it again!
I can't believe it. Shook is a monster. This man is winning a game of League of Legends, and nobody is going to say no.
And look at Prophet. He's now going to try and go for another inhibitor. Can NIP stop the That was unbelievable.
He's buying time. Nogni's not letting anybody get out. NIP are just keeping the ball rolling. They want a little bit more. Ignar, you're not going to get it back quite yet. Unraveled Earth. Prophet moving forward. There's a banner and power.
He doesn't even have the Baron.
Alfari has to hold on, but that's a magic immune cannon creep. Prophet, how worried is he about the damage? He's just going to try to take down this tower. Backs off. Not going to be able to break the second one. Alfari flashes forward. Power of Evil moves in, but let's just watch. Let's just watch it again. None of this matters.
Replay.
None of this. Now, Shook, I've called him a double-edged sword multiple times. Sometimes you swing it and you hit yourself and everything falls apart and you lose an arm, and sometimes you swing it and you just obliterate everyone. He's an awesome player to watch.
Oh, man. So, cool interaction that you will see is he actually used his Q proc on the Talia wall to get the bonus burst damage as well. So that's something to look out for. But the fact that in a 1v4, even though Ignar ultied, he timed his flash at just the right time. So let's watch how this all plays out. So the first thing to note is that 3 members get zoned out of the pit. Ignar wants to get back in to help heal, right? So let's get a nice slow-mo here. As you can see, he comes in. He doesn't even need the wall. He just gets the smite in. And he almost gets out, but the big thing is Nagne also gets a kill onto the enemy jungler. Following this, the problem is Prophet, he arrives too late, so he doesn't actually get the Baron-empowered minions. He TP's bottom lane, and I feel like he should have just gotten the inhibitor and left, but the rest of NIP, they tried to stop Misfits from backing, and sure, they buy a little time, but this Misfit squad is still pretty strong.
Hansama. Okay, I don't know what happened here. We were excited about a lot of things. Is this where he loses
This is where Nagne dies, yeah.
Nice outplay by Hansama. And the Wolf doesn't even kill him. Uh-oh. Now Spiral's in trouble. Looks like he's going to get picked up. That's not the start that they wanted from the fight. Hikyu shook down towards the bottom side. But this is good. Elder Dragon is on the way. Misfits, they've given up on Baron. They've got something else to fight for.
Oh no, Ashe is very overexcited. She does have the Baron empowered recall though. I think she's the only member left now with the Baron.
Weaver's Wall, trying to stop the creeps from getting to the tower. But it does mean the Misfits now have the chance to stack up, buy a little bit more time for the split push to continue. Is this just going to be a base race?
No. No. Oh.
Sure. Surely not.
No, okay.
All right, arrow goes out. Boop. Nope.
Good utilization of the boop there. Very impressive. So now
the dragon's up.
It is Misfits.
But Shook has smite, which means you should not do this.
Here he comes.
Misfits. This man is a predator. He is at the top of the food chain right now. I don't know if you want to do this, Misfits. Where is the smite? Shook. Oh, I can't get that one. All right, Max Lore. Okay. Misfits, they get the Elder Dragon. That's 3 stacks. 135 bonus true damage, a little bit extra movement speed, a little bit of extra regen, and the Baron buff is falling off. So, Misfits, despite everything else, despite the Lord of the Pit, despite Shook doing his best Dandy impression, the new Prince of Thieves, not enough. Misfits still in the lead, not in control, but definitely in the lead.
Now, it was NIP who replaced Giants in Group A. It was Giants that always produced the Baron Steelers. It must be fate that in Group A, or there must always be one. There must always be one in the league. The ultimate Baron thief.
El Bandito himself. Baron power play. That one was once again for... All right, we'll figure that one out in a second. Someone got negative 766 gold over the course of that Baron. It was Nip. All right.
There we go. So I would, at this point, you know, we do the standard cast thing where we talk about, like, look at the CS, look at the gold, but it doesn't matter at this point. Gold is even. Everything is even.
Look at his Baron buffs. You look at Baron buffs, you look at champion scaling. Now, Vedius, who has the edge there?
Who has the edge in scaling? I'd definitely give a big advantage to Misfits. You have Rumble, Orianna, and a Varus who's completed his build. Now, it's not to say that Ashe doesn't do a lot of late game damage, but if you just compare itemization, that is an Infinity Edge versus no Infinity Edge. Like, that's a big difference.
Right. Let me break it down for you. Infinity Edge.
Really good late game item.
Really good late game item. Important, some have said, in an 80 carries.
But also, like, death cap, no death cap, right? Like, these just are such big items that give you such late game power that would give Misfits a big advantage in a full-blown 5v5 fight. But that is if they can get it, because I feel like they haven't had one for a very long time.
And you gotta give respect to Ninjas and Pyjamas. Living up to their names a little bit, they're slippery. They're not fighting you face to face. This is some guerrilla warfare right here. Although Misfits trying their hand at it themselves, moving around in the jungle, looking for an opportunity to find an engage.
And the hilarious part about this is NIP were in exactly the same situation against Fnatic last week. And it all resulted in Nagne getting picked off mid, and then that ended the game.
Yeah, whatever happens with NIP, you show up for game 2.
Yeah, you do.
Game 1, good or bad? Not sure. Can't tell you. Game 2. If 2 games as a sample size is enough to convince you statistically, 1, you're my kind of person. Perfect. 2, definitely need to show up for NIP game 2s.
So now I feel like it's all going to come down to this Baron once again. I believe this will be our 4th Baron of the game, because Misfits got the first one, and then NIP got the following 2, if my memory is correct. And this will be the most Barons of the summer split. I'm pretty confident in that statement.
Ooh.
The question is, who will it go to?
3K gold lead for a team that outscales. This advantage should be theirs. And yet none of us are 100% convinced that this is going to work out for Misfits. But you can hear the calls.
Run, Prophet, run.
Go is the call. Where's the damage going to be? Power of Evil speeding himself up. Prophet does make it out. Misfits are hungry. They've had the opportunity once before. They pulled the trigger. They took down Prophet. They set up the Baron. They thought it was enough, and it wasn't. But maybe it'll work out this time.
So much tension right now. A lot of vision coming out from Misfits around the river. But NIP, they're saying, you know what? We just want vision around the Baron. That's the big important thing. And Prophet, he needs to get this push going. I like the fact that Misfits countered that push to delay. But look, why is this Ashe down the bottom lane? NIP are fully aware that
there's 2 members
there. Are they really putting all their faith in Shook?
1 man, 1 desire, folks. The jungler is stunned. The wall has come out. The Lord of the Pit has spoken. Where is Shook? Damage goes forward. They're trying to zone Shook. He's trying to make his way around the wall. Keep your eye on Power of Evil. They're kicking forward. Maxlor says no. They're finally going to get it. Misfits get the Baron. The push is happening on the bottom side. Sprawl's doing his best to buy time. In goes the Galio. He canceled so many backs, but what does it actually mean? Inhib down. DQ pushing forward. Prophet leaping in. He wants to buy time for the team. What are they doing? They're split up. They're disorganized here on the side of NIP. They need to back out. Ignar is running forward, doing as much damage as humanly possible. There's the equalizer to split it up. Prophet has to run. The GA is going to go down. That's disaster for NIP. They bet it all on one final push, and Misfits came out on top.
NIP, they got so desperate right at the end. They thought that with this Baron gone, I don't know if we can win. So they go for the Hail Mary play. Sprawl tried his very best to interrupt those backs. He could not do it. Only Nagne, the Lord of the Pit, now stands in the way of Misfits. But there's no pit here, and Misfits, they're going for your Nexus.
Moving just a little bit more forward. Misfits hungry to get another kill to close it out, but this is going to be simple and clean to end it out. It may have been messy all throughout the middle, but Misfits, they find the opportunity, they find the chance. Nagne tries to ride it out in style, but there it is, folks. 2-0 for Misfits, and their first series of the week.
And look at the relief on Misfits' faces. I can see Hussein coming out being like, well, guys, that was an educational game.
Right now, we won, and we should be proud of that. But
there's a lot to learn.
But that said, good for Misfits to find this win. We saw improvements in their communications. We still saw a lot of weaknesses, but this is a track record to improvement. Now on the side of NIP, a lot of the same weaknesses we saw last week. But impressive that we're consistently seeing them contest in these situations where they are at a deficit.
The big thing for me for NIP is like they've so often been drafting these 1-3-1 comps, and I feel like that they are yet to properly utilize it once. Their communication does seem a little bit haphazard. The fact that they are sending members down to the bottom half of the map without a proper response, like just a lot of work still needs to be done. I'd like to see them more often just building a composition which is better suited for 5v5 fights, grouping up as a team, because then I just feel like they can fall into this kind of style where I think that they would much better be suited.
Still, a lot of praise from Nico. And you can't blame him. 2 impossible Baron steals. Kicked out of the pit, knocked around, it does not matter. Well, that's going to do it from us here at the Caster Desk. Let's leave it to Quickshot and the guys to wrap up this matchup.
Thank you very much, guys. And you can see the players on screen right now. Big smiles for Shook, the almost hero of Ninjas in Pyjamas. But Misfits, Hal, you wouldn't know they just won the series. That was an interesting one, Henning.
Yeah, for sure. I did believe in NIP for so long, and they looked really close to doing it. They were really far behind in gold, but instead of rolling over and dying, they tried to still go for the aggressive play, set up the bush, the Fnatic bush, but in the end, wasn't enough.
I mean, it's just such a weird game because, like, this is the classic Fiesta kind of game where all over the place there's like Baron steals and people getting caught, and like also some pretty good team fights here and there, like the very first one in the game, the 4v3, like that was actually pretty fun team fight to watch. But it looks like a clean Misfits game at first, and then it just becomes Baron steal into Baron steal.
So before we get to the fun stuff, Henning, explain to me that early game, right? Like 30 minutes of gameplay happened, but it felt like it didn't matter because the last 30 was much interesting. So give me a summary of from early laning phase to mid game.
Yeah, pretty much. Looking at the comps, what NIP wants to do is play around their star top laner, Prophet. They put him on the Jace in a beneficial matchup on a patch where Ninja Tubby is nerfed, by the way. So it won't be as efficient going up against the Jace. Ends up not playing too much around him, though. And then, yeah, just goes for the bot lane play instead, which was pretty interesting to see.
They play around him later because Prophet was stuck in that side lane like all game long, trying to just split push all the way to victory.
For better or worse?
For better or worse. I think NIP just kind of realized, okay, we're not going to win 5-on-5 team fights, you know, with our comp right now.
So they have a plan. If they don't win 5-on-5, they look for people that are alone, right?
Yeah.
And they did it a few times.
Yeah.
We actually have a couple of replays to highlight it.
Wow.
How did they do this, guys?
I think this is really good because this is when Misfits has just gotten their first Baron buff, and what most teams are going to do, they're going to sit in your base, hug the towers, try to wave clear and stay alive, but instead what NIP wants to do is go for the aggressive plays, and this is very interesting.
Reckless!
Yeah, you mentioned it, just like Reckless, it's coming up with HQ here, misses the arrow but still able to flash in and get to max lore.
Now, this kind of playstyle will definitely work a few games for you, while teams are still not used to it, but now teams should have learned when you are ahead against NIP, and especially if you get like Baron and so on, like be ready for them to make some of these little plays, because they did the same thing last week where they hit in that blue buff brush. For the one top laner who wants to push his lane and then go join his team, he walks by, he dies. So it's actually something that's good to do a few times, but if you do it every time, then people will figure it out. You saw in this game, Misfits started putting wards in the lanes.
Yeah.
Because they're like, oh, Hiku is probably going to run through this lane again. And they saw him on multiple wards, and they didn't actually die to the 80 carry gank later on.
No, not later on. But talking about later, one of the many Baron steals. Let's jump into the next three players. This looked like it was going to be end of days for NIP, but somehow they win this fight, Henning.
Yeah, just look at Shook during this time. He's just able to stay around the Baron, and meanwhile Prophet is going to come in here while Alphard just used the TP. And yeah, they try to pull off the Galio combo, not able to do so. Fast forward a little bit, Prophet gets a tower damage, and then again trying to go for the 50-50 Baron here, no vision on the side. And Prophet is still in the bottom lane, pushing down Inhibitor, so this is great map play from them.
Ignite wants to go out, hit the blast cone, and either shoot Shook away or shoot him into the pit and then kill him. But they don't kill him in time.
There.
Yeah, because then Lee Sin is panicking. He's like, no. Why is he in here? I'm going to kick him out. And they don't actually then kill him. And therefore, because they now used everything they had to either knock him in to burst him down or then kick him away after, Shook actually had flash and dash to get into the Baron pit again. So the blast cone hit from Ignar, like, part of me wants to say he wanted to knock Shook away from the Baron pit. Another part is like, no, he wanted to knock him in and just burst him down while Baron was still on 2k HP. But clearly, Maxlaw wasn't ready for that one. He's like, this guy should not be in here.
Well, Shook almost had the plays to earn him Player of the Series, but because he did not win the game, did not extend it to Game 3, we have a different Player of the Series. It's going to be Power of Evil, the man that you had pegged to be the difference maker, the man that you, Henning, had pegged that might be controlled by Nagne. Dude, you put your faith in NIP. How it went so wrong?
Yeah, I'm almost...
Never trust the Swedes.
Whoa.
That's all I can say. That's all I can say.
Well, listen.
Thanks you for making me feel welcome on the caster desk.
Never trust a Swede. Deficio said it best. Thank you very much, guys.
Well, he didn't get to answer.
No, he's done. Misfits Gaming, they proved themselves as the stronger team in this series. For more, Pyros ready for a word with their jungler, Maxlaw.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Yeah, I'm joined by Maxlaw, and I just want to ask you, personally, after 2 Baron steals, how good did it feel to kick Shook in the face out of the pit the 3rd time?
Well, 3rd time was a charm, I guess. Yeah, the first 2 Baron calls really sucked. The second one was not really my fault, but we suck at Baron, basically. The 3rd one was 3rd time's a charm, and we eventually got the Baron and won the game off it, so felt good.
Yeah, it was a long one. I mean, difficult when you're having a game that kind of goes on like that after you build up an early lead. How do you kind of untilt yourself after not 1 but 2 Baron steals that looked like you were going to have it right up to the last second?
I think because I am really mentally strong, I don't get triggered from that kind of stuff. Even though I miss Smite, I'm kind of used to it at this point. So, yeah, it's all Gucci.
Well, there you go. I guess so. You miss enough of them, it doesn't phase you after a while. And you have a lot of experience now on this stage. You know, you're coming in on another team, changing your jersey once again over to Misfits. How has it been fitting in on this new squad coming into summer?
It's been feeling pretty good because I've known the top laner for a long time, so we're good friends. And I knew some of the players before as well. They're all great players, fantastic, eager to learn and stuff like this. And I'm really happy with the organization as well. So I have to put in maximum effort to make sure that we make playoffs and possibly worlds.
Absolutely. I mean, we'd heard from the coach earlier on this year. He talked about kind of a big year plan for Misfits going forward. You guys think in the way you are right now, you're going to be able to make those playoffs, or is there a lot more work that needs to be done?
We can make playoffs, but not convincingly. If we improve our Baron calls and how we work at Baron, we could be a pretty good team, top team. I think after our loss against Fnatic, it kind of showed our weaknesses in picks, especially my picks, and strategy and stuff like this. So the amount of progress we made this week has really surprised me, and I'm really happy with it. So if we keep improving and improving, we could definitely make playoffs and possibly Worlds.
Absolutely. And to talk about another team that seems to be showing some improvement as well, NIP coming in with honestly not a whole lot of expectations on them, but they've challenged not just Fnatic, you guys as well. How competitive do you think Group A is going to be as the split goes on?
It's pretty damn competitive because, as you said, NIP have been challenging everyone, and they are seen as the lowest ranking team, yet they can actually compete against the top teams. So it's not going to be like last split where it's going to be just like for the first 7 weeks really boring to watch LCS, but I think there'll be a lot more upsets this split than there was last split.
I'm looking forward to seeing it. Thanks again, Maxlor, and congratulations on your 2-0. Now, we are going to go ahead and take a 3.5 cool down, but do not go anywhere when we return. A Clash of Kings as Fnatic and G2 take to the Rift. We'll see you then.
Folks, game 2, Nagne and Power People loaded up, they're ready, as is the rest of both teams. And Maxlor's come to play as well, but Nagne, whoo, gets a kill back, still the triple for Hans Sama.
Yes, it does.
Maxlor is in trouble. He says, I will die for you, Alfari. Knocked back. He's in the pit. Can they take down Shook before they get the Baron? He makes it over the wall. Where is the smite? He gets it! NIP Misfits, you take the risk. They're more than happy to punish you. Look at Prophet. He's already breaking it in him. This is disaster.
Here he goes.
Gandalf not going to be able to stop them from getting into the pit. They're just going to keep going. Shook, where is he? Oh, he does it again! I can't believe it. Shook is a monster. This is going to be simple and clean to end it out. It may have been messy all throughout the middle, but Misfits, they find the opportunity. They find the chance. Nagne tries to ride it out in style, but there it is, folks. 2-0 for Misfits and their first series of the week.